Now, we've traveled on the right bank of the Seine, and we're in the 10th district. We're in a very picturesque street called La Rue du Faubourg Saint-Denis, with a lot, I mean, it's maybe one of the most cosmopolitan streets of Paris, with a lot of small shops selling produce from all over the world. We went across some Indian restaurants and some East European shops where you can find a lot of things. And here we are in a very special place with Nicolas, who is the head of a sort of food empire, I would nearly say, or food empire to be, because they have, first of all, they started with a cheese shop, and they had also vodka, a shop specialized in vodka, but now they have a bakery, they have a lot of things. Nicolas is going to tell us all about that. It's called Ronalba, and more, it's called Juhles shop. It's on the 54 Rue du Faubourg Saint-Denis, and it's what I call the most dangerous shop in Paris, because if you have a Visa card, it will hit a lot. Because I showed Rob about 100 things I would easily buy in your shop. So now we're concentrated on the cheeses. France and its cheeses. We are the country of cheeses. So it's the second best shop in Paris for cheeses. Nicolas is an absolute malt maniac, and he loves whiskey, and he's done a great thing with a classic malt range. So Nicolas, explain us what you've done.
Thank you, Martine. So in the classic malt experience, we used to add bread, cheeses, and malt, of course. And we're gonna start with Saint-Nectaire, that is a cheese from center of France. It's a very typical cheese. Very thin, complex, with very tasty but not strong at all. So for the association, better to eat the cheese without the skin. So the thinness on the little flavor are going to be more easy to find inside. That cheese comes from a very good producer that is called Guillaume, and it had been aged for about 8 weeks. And it's going to be a very good pairings with Craig & Moore, the Speyside of the classic malt range.
So that's the Craig & Moore and the Saint-Nectaire.
All right. Okay. So the purpose is to take some bread with the cheese, to eat the association of the two first elements, to bite it very, very well, and after you swallow, you just take a very little drop of Craig & Moore. You make it turn in your mouth, so you're going to have a lot of synergy inside, and the pairing is going to be very full. After when you have swallow, you keep to have a lot of feelings because of the fatness of the cheese and the texture of the bread.
You know what is very interesting? When I smell this bread, I'm just sent back to a distillery. The yeasty, at the moment when you add the yeast to the mash, and it's not the starting of the wash really here. And here we are also in the cereal with the grist. We're in the mill. Yeah. I'm rather in the mill, and I can smell the grist. So I think we're already near the whiskey here and the solid parts. So I think it's going to be a real bliss with a whiskey.
The association are not like magical things. They are just something very simple to make with the, for example, as told Martine, the bread smell like cereals and the freshness of the meal. The Saint-Nectaire is a cheese that goes very well with honey, dry fruits, and it has inside some taste of cream milk, of young nuts, and all of those tastes, all of those flavors are going very well with Craig & Moore. So it's an association with like similar flavors.
So I can't resist. You said I start with
you start with the cheese and the bread, and after you take a little drop of Craig & Moore. something interesting with the pairings like that is it's not just something to share a good time with friends or to make people discover the malt. It's also a good way to find some new volumes and new flavor in your single malt. You can inside have the different way of tasting the malt because of the food.
For me, it enhances the fruitiness of Cragganmore, and you get this fresh minty tone, stronger than if you just drink it on the side.
Exactly.
And it's really lovely.
You feel more the structure of Cragganmore and the basic structure, I guess. And this is very interesting. You have another face of Cragganmore because of the pairings.
Absolutely.
And you can. Cragganmore is also a bit special because, to my mind, I used to say that you can drink it like 10 times and you will have a lot of evolution inside the glass. And with the pairings, you have one face of Cragganmore and the flavor are more stable as well.
Yeah. And the bread makes a difference as well. Now, Lagavulin. So we're going a step further.
Yes. So Lagavulin is one of the is the pettiest malt of the classic malts, and we added to the Roquefort, that is a ewe milk blue cheese, and that is also one of the strongest cheese we have in France. And the association of the strongest malt and the strongest cheese gets something very, very full, very deep, with a big complexity. They are not getting really together, but they front and they get.
So they fight. They fight together.
Yeah, they fight and they get up and up and up like that.
Then they get on together. Can I have a little
yes,
of it?
So, just like this.
Yes, Roquefort is really, it's a great cheese, very, very special, different from Stilton. I mean, more pungent, and there's this little saltiness.
Yes, and that one comes from a producer. It's called Mr. Combe. It's Roquefort Vieux Berger, and is one of the thinnest Roquefort. You have a lot of mineral flavor, honey, also white fruit inside. And the cream flavor of the past, the white part of the blue cheese, has a lot of presence as well.
That's characterful matching, very vibrant.
Yes.
Frisk and vibrant. And you're right, this Roquefort is not the most tangy one, because some are very tangy. This one is creamy.
Exactly.
And which really makes for the texture of Lagavulin, which is quite thick, rich, and and more mouth coating. So. And
sometimes it's funny because sometimes people that don't like Roquefort could like Roquefort with Lagavulin, and some people that don't like Lagavulin could like it with Roquefort. It's pretty funny.
Putting food and whiskey at peace together.
Yes. And it's very open. You can make, for example, change the bread and for pain d'épices or gingerbread, and have different flavor. You can add fruit, for example, pear with blue cheese and bread are very good with Lagavulin.
Or nut, walnut.
Yes, nuts, walnuts, peanuts as well with Lagavulin. It's very funny. Yes.
So you still try experimenting, you carry on your experiments on classic malt and cheeses. So
anyway, everything is open. So we have all the flavor of the 6 classic malt and many flavor of the cheese, because it depends of the youngness of the cheese, of the kind of milk we use, and everything could be changed and make to the own perception, the own feelings.
I have an exercise for you. I've brought a sample with a whiskey in it. It's a Bowmore 1987 from Duncan Taylor, and I'd like you to nose it and tell me which cheese you would pair
with pleasure.
Voilà, Nicolas, this is a Bowmore 1987 from Duncan Taylor.
Thank you.
I think it's quite an interesting Bowmore in this range of year 80. It's a 20-year-old, and in the 80s, Bowmore really bloomed for me. I really like this one.
In the first note, there is some flavor of kind of candy, something a bit sweet and almost like sweet and chemical like that. And I'm always, not always, but right now I'm thinking about a cheese that is not very common in France. That is called Bleu de Termignon, and it's a very little production, just a few less than 10% produced.
It's a very matured one, is it? Not.
I'm more thinking with just those cheese that are not very mature. They are called blue, but they are not blue like Roquefort.
It's not the same blue veins.
They are the same family of the cheddar. They are made like the Cantal, the Salers or the cheddar, and inside the little veins, sometimes the blue is getting growing inside. The penicillium is not added in the cheese or in the milk. It's just natural, yes. And those cheese, when they are young, they could be with those flavor of chemical candy like that, and the last flavor are more like civet or something more animal and deep.
Yeah,
and it could be, I think, pretty interesting with that malt.
Yes, and there's a tiny floral note also of coconut.
Yes. Or the Cantal could be also pretty interesting with that, like the young Lyell, for example.
Yeah. So, you know, what is good with going to a Juhles shop like that is that if you pick up your cheese, you say, I want Saint-Nectaire, then you can go and ask Nicolas, what would you recommend? And of course, there's a great range of wines as well. We're in France, we don't forget wine. And it's not because we talk of whiskey that we forget wine. We were born with it. We have it in our blood.
Exactly, yes.
And just tell me, you have a bakery as well.
Yes, we also have the bakery, and we also talk a lot about bread when people ask some advices about pairings, because the bread is always a good bridge. With the cereal, the cereal base of all the malt.
Absolutely, yeah. So, you know, just coming in a place like that, you come with a big basket. That's my recommendation, or a big case. And if it's a lovely day like today, you can have your picnic by the River Seine with your cheese. You need your cheese, your whiskey, your bread, and you are happy. Thank you, Nicolas.
Thank you.